Welcome to a video that very few people are going to click on and even fewer people are going to care about because it's not about that Buick. And even worse, it's about a bike. We're working on the two-stroke again. So I did finally get this bike to run once, and what it took was taking that plug and gapping it down to almost nothing. John at J&J Auto sat down with a friend of his who actually had like 3 of these bikes, and he said that they blow out the spark with almost no effort whatsoever. So that has to be a paper thin gap, which also kind of means that I'm sure it floods extremely easily. But now I am left with just a few things left to do, and this bike might actually run decently. I need a bowl gasket, judging by the puddles this thing leaves absolutely everywhere, and then the choke is absolutely hashed. Fortunately, next to my delicious Mountain Dew Major Melon, today's drink of choice, I have those 2 things. Here is a new choke, and here is a bowl gasket. Now, for the price of these 2 things, I could have bought a complete Chinese carburetor for this, but I decided against it and decided that I would get the original Mikuni going again. Or is this Keihin? That's a Mikuni. It says so right there, Mikuni. Because OEM is probably better by a long shot. So we're just going to throw these out there, and then we're going to start digging into our bucket of parts and returning this thing to its former glory, question mark? Our new and our old choke. This old one, it doesn't have any detents. It has a ton of wiggle, so I assume that this isn't sealing anywhere like it's supposed to. This one has a nice click. It's all good. So we screw this back in here. It is completely the wrong thread size. Isn't that nice? I'm guessing these don't disassemble. If I could take the knob off, I could swap those collars over. I ended up cutting both of them apart and taking the knob off of the new one so I could slip on the collar of the old one, and now it sort of has detents. So I guess we'll just roll with this. Go ahead and I already put the carb back in here. Okay. That sort of works. I definitely need to get the correct one for this application, which apparently was not that. Yeah, that sort of works, I guess. Here's the air box. It just kind of sits in here and then doesn't really clamp on because that boot is completely trashed. But the problem is I don't have a filter. So I have, I have the case, or the cover, and then I've got, luckily, the cage for the filter, but I don't have any filter on hand, and it's pretty standard, just foam stuff, but I kind of want to put something on here, so I need to figure something out. wow, it actually kind of looks like a bike now. Even have the oil tank, which is no longer an oil tank, and all that sort of stuff. Even have the plastic covers on here and all that. Oil tank looks great. Let's take a look under here. I got the snorkel on the air box, which is that under there. Comes up to this, which is also like the battery clamp, except, you know, no battery, and also, you know, no oil tank. So I think we're almost ready to kick this over. This yeah, I'm gonna have to actually figure out what choke this needs, but I wanted to take a look at my plug gap, because as you can see, just from a couple of test kicks, that is bridged. There. I blew it out, and you can, let's see here. There we go. You can see how minuscule that gap is. I might open it up just a little bit, but apparently this is a common thing on these old two-stroke bikes, so I might play with this a little bit and see what I can get out of it. Well, it's been like a week, and I finally got another choke in. Now, unlike the one that I bought before, this one has a, I assume it might be brass, but might not be. But the threaded part is brass. As you can see, compared to the threaded part of the other one I bought, there we go. It appears to be the correct diameter? The correct diameter, even. So, let's grab a wrench. Wrench grabbed. Now let's go throw this in the DT175 and see if it'll start. Now, something else that I did in the past week, the only thing I did in the past week, because motivation is very fickle, is I took my improvised air filter out and I cut it in half, because I think there was way too much filter element there, and it was restricting airflow too much. That's why the bike was having a hard time starting. So, new filter made out of the finest shop towels, and hopefully with this clutch, this thing will kick over like it's supposed to. So let's do this. I think the only way this would really could be any simpler is if I had both hands to do it with. So this is my hybrid that was made out of new plunger and knob on old collar, and it doesn't really lock in place or do anything. Here's the new piece. In it goes. There we are. Nice. It actually locks. So let's leave that choked. Turn our fuel on. Fuel is flowing. Let's see if she lives. Oh! Choke in, maybe? I believe in you. It's alive and idling and totally smoking out my shop. Kind of a rattly thing. I don't know if those are normal noises or not, but it's something. I'm gonna get cancer. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you could hear what I was saying when it was running, but there is kind of a rattling coming from the engine casing itself. I don't know if that's normal or if this thing's bottom end is trash, but at any rate, it does run. So I guess I'll get it out of the garage here, put some air in the tires, and see if it rides. In the meantime, though, I just wanted to mention what's going on with the Ducati here, because I haven't, I'm not going to make a video about this, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to some of you, because it involves the world's oldest looking box. Is that cool or what? This is an old carburetor balancer, a Venturi style one, and I thought I'd show you guys real quick how this works. What it's for is balancing carburetors, which is what I've done on the Ducati here, and that has improved the cold start and idle performance so much. I haven't ridden it yet, but just look. Cold starts on this bike previously required full choke no matter how warm it was, and kind of feathering the throttle to keep it idling. So now we've got a stone cold engine and no choke. Let me turn my fuel on there. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. It doesn't like to come off idle when it's cold, but it's pretty good. And I'll show you how this works. That little bead in there tells you how much vacuum is coming through each cylinder, and you can use that to balance them. So that's showing relatively how much vacuum is being pulled through there. This one's a little bit higher now. About half of a mark, so I've got a little bit more fine tuning to do. And of course the downside, as you saw, is if the engine revs too high, it just pegs it out. But it's a super nifty little tool. Well, let's get this out of the way so we can get the Yamaha out. Well, the clutch was slipping, even at, under 3,000 RPM, I could tell it was slipping, and then the bike wouldn't rev out. Realized eventually it was out of gas, so I put some gas in it, started tuning the carb, and then I went to kick it, and it just froze. Kickstarter is not turning the engine right now. It's all stuck. I imagine it's something to do with the magneto. Something's jammed up there, so I'll have to take that cover back off and take a look at it. But it is literally 100 degrees out right now, and I don't know if you can tell. I'm rather wet right now, so this is gonna happen another day. Looks like I need to figure out why it's stuck, get that resolved, and then I guess I'll have to take the right side cover off and take a look at that clutch, see what I need to buy, because if I remember right, I'm probably going to need springs and friction discs at a bare minimum. And I don't know how many. So we'll take it apart, we'll see what's going on in there, measure the spring free length, and hopefully with those two issues resolved, she will live again. Thanks for watching.